Recording. All right, so today we're going to talk about special products of binomials. And I think the last example we had in class yesterday was, a special product of a binomial. Remember I said, hey, here's an example. This one's special. It's what we're learning about today. That is what we're learning about today. So what we did yesterday was we understood FOIL. And so if we took something like this that was x plus 3 squared, and we did front, outer, inner, last, we came up with an answer. Today we're going to go, all right, this is a perfect square. We're squaring something. How can we do it without having to write x plus 3 times x plus 3, and then do x squared plus 3x plus 3x plus 9, x squared plus 6x plus 9. Can we take a shortcut? That's what we're trying to figure out today. Now let me just say this. These are all just shortcuts. These are all things that you are probably come to realize all by yourself after you've had a lot of practice with FOIL. When I first started working with these, I just preferred to use FOIL because FOIL was what I was familiar with, and this just seemed like something extra for me to memorize. You might feel the same way too. Then the more you do FOIL, the more you're going to realize and recognize these shortcuts. So I'm showing you the shortcuts today. If you want to go ahead and just use FOIL, you can do that and do what we did yesterday. And then maybe that way, but then if you take what we did yesterday and you practice it enough, you would come up with these shortcuts all by yourself. I will also say, today we're going from this to what the trinomial is. Next Friday, we're going from the trinomial back to this. So also, the more familiar you are with these kind of shortcuts, the easier next Friday will be. All right, so having said all that, here we go. You're going to be right here. You're going to open your foldable, and on the left-hand side, you see it's blank. I want you to write square of a binomial with the sum in the center. So how can we take a shortcut if we have x plus b squared? So I just want you to write square of a binomial sum right now, and then we'll talk about what the shortcut looks like. And you're either going to love it or you're going to go, I'm just going to do FOIL until this process becomes natural to me. All right, so if you have a plus b squared, the shortcut is to go, all right, a squared plus 2 times a times b plus b squared. And we're going to do an example. The shortcut is to say a squared plus 2 times a times b plus b squared. Here's an example. I don't know, do you all have 3x plus 4 written? Okay, perfect, you do. All right, so here, this says to square the first term. 3x is 9x squared. Write that down. And I kind of do mine out of order. Then it says to, at the end, right here, I know I'm just going to square the b term. Well, what is 4 squared? 16. And then what it says is to go take the a times b and then double them. Take a times b and double them. Okay, so what is 3x times 4? 12 times 2 is 24, and then add the variable, 24x. Does it work? Let's do this using the FOIL method. First, 9x squared. Outer, 12x. Inner, 12x. Last, 16. And you can see it will work every single time. We're going to practice it in a minute, but I'm going to go through the other 2 rules with you. The next one is the same as this one, except instead of this plus sign in the middle of it, there's going to be a minus sign. So this one's going to be square of a binomial, but the difference. Square of a binomial, but the difference this time. So this time, if we have a minus b squared. Again, we can do FOIL. But it's the same thing as last time, a squared, a b squared down here, but instead of plus 2ab, it's just a minus 2ab. A squared minus 2ab plus b squared. So let's look at an example. On your right-hand side, you see on your foldable it says 5m minus n. So we're going to square the first term. What is 5m squared? 5n, 25m squared, yes? And then I like to just come over here and square this back term. Negative n times negative n is negative n squared. And then this little cheat right here says to take a times b and double it. What is 5 times 2? And then just add the variables, m, n, and then this time the difference is there's a minus sign there. That's the only difference between this one and the one we just did. Now, let's make sure it works. 5m minus n times 5m minus n. Okay, let's do FOIL. 5m times 5m is 25m squared. And then outer is negative 5mn, inner negative 5mn plus m squared, and then you can see that's just doubled. Negative 5 plus negative 5 is negative 10. Okay, and then our last shortcut is when we see a sum and difference. In other words, when we have a plus b times a minus b, where a and b are the same. All you have to do for this one then is to say a squared, b squared, and put a negative sign in between them, or a minus sign. This is the easiest one. So your example would be x plus 3y, x minus 3y. The a and the b are the same. A is x, b is 3y, b is 3y. All you do is you square the first term, square the a, which is x squared, x squared, square the b, which is 9y squared, and put a minus sign in between them. Are you sure that works? Yes? Watch this. We'll do FOIL. X plus 3y, which remember is an option until you're familiar, where you're more familiar, and then you're going to be using the cheats a little bit more. Okay, so FOIL, x times x. The front is x squared. The outer is negative 3y. The inner is plus 3y. And the end is negative 9y squared. Look what happens to this in the center. Cancels each other out. That's why that works. Okay, so now go ahead and get your whiteboards out, and we're just going to practice. Keep your foldable out so that you can look at it and reference it. Okay, so look at this example. This example is x plus 3 squared. Are you going to get this little shortcut from the first, the middle, or the last example? The first one. And so the first one says that the shortcut is a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So basically what that means is I look at the first term, which is what? X, so x squared. Then the last term is 3. What's 3 squared? All right. Then I just go 3 times x is 3x times 2 is what? 6x. So this is like this. And you will, through over and over and over again of doing FOIL, you will get to this yourself. And you could have come up with these rules in about 3 days probably. Okay, do this one on your whiteboard. And I'm going to do it with you. 4s plus 3t squared. Look on your examples. Top one, middle one, last one. Top one. We're still on the top one. So the top one says it's a squared. Square the first term. square the last term, and then put 2 times the terms together in the middle spot. So do it step by step. What's the first term? 4s squared, what is that? 16s squared. I'm going to go ahead. I like to do this last one because these are the easy ones. What is that going to be? 3t squared. What would that be? 9t squared. And then what's 4 times 3 times 2? 24 st. Okay, this one you're going to do on your whiteboard all by yourself. I'm not going to talk you through it. I'm going to get a good, easy one. Do this one on your whiteboard, and I'm not going to talk you through it. You got it. And it's coming from the first example on your foldable. So this one means I just a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So this first term squared is x squared. This squared is 36. 6 times x is 6x. Times 2 is 12x. Boom. Of course you did. I'm your math teacher. All right. Let's try moving on to this one. Look, first, middle, or last section of your foldable? The middle one. So the middle one says take a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. It's the very same thing, except guess what goes right there? This measurement, how am I ever going to remember that that goes there? Look what's right here. That's your clue right there. So we're going to take the first term and square it. The last term and square it. What is 6 times x? 6x. Double that. What do you get? 12x. And then guess what? The only difference is we put a minus sign. It's just like the other one, but we put a minus sign. How are you going to remember to put the minus sign? Because it has a minus sign in it. Here's another one. 4m minus 10 squared. This is coming from the middle example. And so the little cheat is a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. All right, so I'm just going to take this and square it. What is 4m squared? 16m squared. Boom. And then I like to go to the end. You might not like that, but what's negative 10 squared? 100. And then, what is 10 times 4? 40. Double that. 80. Negative 8. And then subtract 80. And don't forget to add the variable. And boom, you're done. Just little cheats, little shortcuts. Okay, I'm going to let you do this next one all by yourself. Let me give you, let's do that one. All right, so this is going to be a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. This would be x squared. This would be 49. 7 times x is 7x. Times 2 is 14x. Just little cheats. Okay, we'll go on to the last example. You guys are doing a really good job today, and that is this. When you have the sum and difference of two squares, like one's a sum and one's a difference, Look at your last example on your foldable. That just says take the first term, square it. Take the second term, square it. What sign goes in between? A minus sign. So this is just going to be x squared minus 16. How easy is that? X squared minus 16. All right, let's do another example. Let's do this one. P squared plus 8q times p squared minus 8q. And again, you're just taking the first term, squaring it, the second term, squaring it, put a subtraction sign in between it. What is p squared times p squared? P to the fourth. 8q times 8q. 64q to the second. What sign goes in between? Yes. Alrighty then, let's do this one. Okay, hold your boards up and let me see what you have. And you should just have x squared minus 64. Now we're going to mix it up like they're all going to be together. That's part of your homework, so I'm not going to go over that. Hold, please. All right, try this one. They're all going to be together. They're mixed up. You figure out where it is on your foldable and look at the notes. If this is blowing your mind, what's your other thing? What's your other option? FOIL. All right, hold your boards up. Let me see what you have. Good job. X squared minus 4x plus 4. Good job, good job. All right. Let's try this one. Aiden, we got a new one up. When you're trying to multiply those two in the middle term, the two terms in your head, listen, ignore the variables. What is 9 times 2? Double that, what do you get? Then add the extra variables. So this one would be 4x squared minus 36xy plus 81y squared. Okay, wait, I'm going to do one more for you. Oh, yeah, this was a good one right here. Perfect. Perfect timing. I'm amazing. How do I get so amazing? I don't know. Just natural to me. So this is the sum and difference, right, of two binomials. So this is the last example. So Jake, while I'm talking, you don't need to be talking. So take the first term and square it. Then take the second term and square it. And then what do you put in the center? Perfect. Okay, let's go back. I want y'all to work this with me. This is example. This is like one that you have on your homework. Okay. Write a polynomial that represents the area of the yard around the pool shown below. So I'm just assuming that this right here is the pool. Would y'all think I'm right about that? Okay, so I just want this area right here, all that. So I have to find the area of the big square, yes. Then I have to find the area of the little square, yes. Then what do? Okay, and the reason I'm going over this is everybody did really good at that first two steps. It was the last step, that's subtracting, where fifth period hit some roadblocks. I want to make sure y'all don't do that. So the first thing we're going to do is find the area of this big yard right here, which is length times width, which is x plus 5 times x plus 5, which is x plus 5 squared. Yes? Okay, figure that out on your whiteboard. I'm going to give you a second or two to do that. You got your cheat sheets, or you can do FOIL. Okay, so you should come up with did y'all get x squared plus 10x plus 25? Perfect. Now let's do the area of the pool. The area of the pool is, that is going to be the sum and difference. So that's our last example. What is that area going to be? Okay, x squared minus 4, yes? So now to find this part, I subtract. So I do x squared plus 10x plus 25 minus x squared minus 4. Now you have to go back to what the sub taught you. It was the last lesson that I wasn't here for. This is where we hit some roadblocks in fifth period. What was the big idea when you're subtracting? Or you add a negative, right? So it was x, so this would be x squared plus 10x plus 25. That's a positive x squared. This negative makes it a negative x squared. What do you do with this 4? Yes, you add 4. So that's where we got lost a little bit in fifth period. I wanted to make sure you knew that. So that's x squared. That's minus x squared. What happens to those? They cancel out. That leaves me with 10x plus 25 minus 4. Just kidding, plus 4. So that's 10x, what? Plus 29. That's the polynomial that represents the area of the yard without the pool. This was my last video I need to make for the year. I would like a round of applause because it stresses me out. I made all the ones for next week already this week. I'm pretty pumped about that. I was helping a teacher out who's not going to be here, so I made them myself. Why am I recording all this? Here, let me